Happy birthday to you.
To me.
Happy birthday to you.
To me.
Happy birthday, dear Matthew.
That's me.
Happy birthday to you.
Me.
Hip hip.
Hooray.
Hip hip.
Hip hip.
Hip hip.
Hooray. what did you think that said?
I said yip.
Hip hip. Like
No.
hip hip hooray.
No, that's probably US. Here's hip hooray, hip hooray.
No.
Yeah.
It's hip hip hooray.
No.
If we don't do that in the US. It's specifically Australia.
Are you sure it's double
I'm on a news.com.au website right now that talks about how a US woman was surprised that Australians said hip hip hooray.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, this is going in the show notes so everyone can see what I'm talking about. It is hip hip hooray.
Okay, I really honestly thought it's hip.
Well, thank you for the song anyway. And I'm glad that we could learn something together today.
So how you say it? So hip hip.
Hip hip hooray.
No,
hip,
let's do
hooray.
it again. Hip hip.
Hooray.
Hip hip.
Hooray.
That's so difficult. Why you don't just say one like hip?
Because no one says that. It ain't hip to just say hip. Hey, this is Matt.
And this is Yuna.
And this is Our Three Things, a podcast about joyful things. Sometimes too joyful.
I know.
Because our little, before we actually started the recording, we were just chatting about nothing. And Yuna got the giggle fits over there. She's still kind of getting over it a bit. But I think we're back. I think we're centered.
I think so. I think I'm in control right now.
Perfect. Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. But
No?
you're in control
Okay.
enough, I think.
Yes.
So this week, we're going to do something a little different. Normally, we do our 3 joyful things each from just the past week that kind of go top of mind. But this week, we're going to do more of a theme. So we're going to do, in honor of one of the members of the podcast's birthday coming up tomorrow.
Yeah. Which is the one who is talking.
The one who is talking right now.
Yeah.
We are going to do our top 3 most memorable or joyful birthday memories that we have.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, I will say, just to preface this, and Yuna knows this very well, I'm not huge on my own birthday celebration, just in general.
Yeah.
I like having low-key birthdays. So I think the 3 that I chose, and they're not in any particular order, they're more in terms of like different points of my life. And a couple of them, I don't even remember the actual year of the age of the birthday.
Wow.
But they're memories that stick out from like a birthday from some era of my life. At least the first one will be.
Yeah.
So these are ones that these are the ones that stick out the most to me. A lot of my birthdays are just sort of like low key, like whatever, which I prefer, but some of them have really nice memories attached. So that's what we're going to go into this week.
Sounds great.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Yuna, what is your first joyful birthday memory?
So my first one is going to be very long. It's my first most memorable joyful thing is my 30th birthday. So why I say so memorable is because I normally don't have a big birthday celebration similar as Matt. Normally just dinner with friends, but because it's a 30th birthday, so that's the first time I actually have a lot of my friends coming in to a bar and celebrating with me, drinking and dancing, like usual 30th thing. But on the same day, me and my best friend Rachel, which we celebrate birthday almost every year when we were in Australia, and before the party at night, we actually went into one of the fine dining restaurant, the Key.
Yeah, it's
in
a really
Circular
famous
Quay.
one in
Yeah.
Circular Quay, which is for those who don't know Sydney, that's like the really famous harbor, like next to the Opera House. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably ranked one of the top fine dining place in Australia, and the reason it's so great is the food presentation is pretty amazing, as well as if you have the window seat, you literally can see the Opera House and Harbour Bridge in one view. They're just right in front of your building and they're like your window, and there's nothing obstructed. So I had that. I had my birthday lunch there with my best friend Rachel, and that's the first time we went to the restaurant, I think, which is great. And we took a lot of lovely photos, and we both loving take picture with the food. We take selfies. And that's awesome. And when we turned up into the birthday party at the bar near I think, I can't remember, where is it? I think it's near Darling Harbour, one of the area in Sydney. And you know what's funny? My group of friends, they give me a birthday gift, which is the key restaurant voucher. So I can use for the next year.
Right after you went there.
I know, which is awesome. And
you like you. I know that you really love fine dining in general. Was this the first one that you actually went that was like legitimate?
That's the thing, because Matt knows we have this group of friends, and when we do birthday gifts, we do as a group collectively, so you can get nice gifts for each other. I think for one of the year. It's for when they choose the birthdays, because we have a lot of people birthdays in January, February, so they call this like January, February baby's birthday. It's like 7 of us, I think, and the group just chip in to buy gifts for each of us, right? And I can't remember which year is that, but I remember one year, the group friend, one of the friends like Eric, he loves food, right? So he suggests, let's give fine dining vouchers to Yuna. And I remember it's a fine dining voucher to Aria restaurant. Mm-hmm. So that's the first time I had the fine dining voucher. So I took my parents to go to Aria and had food there. And I thoroughly enjoyed the fine dining experience. And I said, well, that's great. Going forward for my birthday, I want to go to fine dining restaurant.
So that's not something that started when you were like really young. That was like something you're introduced to. Yeah,
someone I'm introduced to, I'm not familiar with. But I actually enjoying that experience, because when you go to fine dining, you normally want to dress up nicely, and the food present beautifully, and most of the time they're yummy, and you can take lots of food pictures. You just feel like it's kind of something you do special in a special day.
It feels like something like out of the ordinary, right? Because I wasn't really into that stuff. You don't do like
regularly. You only do in special occasions.
Well, you would if you could, I think. But I don't think I was really like introduced to that until you took me for one of my birthdays, actually, to a place like that.
Yeah, I agree. And also like so that's one part of my 30th birthday, right? And the other part is, since it's 30th, right? Why you just celebrate a birthday on the day? So I decided I'm gonna celebrate my 30s for the entire year. So what I did is on my 30th birthday for that year, I signed myself up with a Europe trip just by myself. Joined a travel group, which is, what's the group's name?
We don't need to give them advertisement. It's fine.
Yeah, I can't remember. But however, like, I made a brave decision. I decided to do a skydiving on top of the mountain Alps in Austria on my 30th year.
So that was for your birthday?
Yeah, that's for my 30th birthday celebration. It's pretty awesome. And you know what? I'm a person scared of the height. But I think, well, if you don't do this in 30th birthday, I don't think I will ever do that ever again in my life. So I decided, I took the chance, and I did it. And I absolutely enjoying the loved experience, and my video looks awesome. I took a lot of photos, and the video is the coolest video I've ever seen. Yeah, so that's my 30th birthday celebration. One of my most memorable joyful birthdays. So Matt, what is your first thing of your joyful birthday?
So this is one of those that I mentioned in our introduction, that I don't remember what age this was.
Okay.
I know it was like late 90s. So it probably would have been somewhere in like the 7 to 9 range, something like that, when I was a kid. So I don't know if these are that popular in other parts of the world. I guess probably in parts of Europe. I don't know in Australia really, but in the 90s, at least in US, well, really starting in the 70s, but in the 90s, they were kind of popular in a retro way, are these like skating rinks, like roller skating.
Roller skating,
So
the
it's
wooden floor?
like the kind of laminate wooden floor.
Oh, yeah.
With like the big, like it's like enclosed, and there's like a snack bar and like arcade and stuff like that also. And then you can just rent the skates. And they in the 90s, they were like every kid had like a birthday party there.
Oh, really?
Like it was like super popular. I think it kind of stems out of the roller discos, which were like popular and like a big thing in like
I remember.
the 70s and 80s. And like, they would blare like different like pop music and like older school music and just like stuff that's fun to dance to. And so I have a memory of that. And again, it might have happened multiple times in my head. It's just kind of combined into one.
Okay, into one big event.
One big event birthday memory. It at this one in Dallas where I grew up in Texas called Texas Stadium.
Yeah.
And I was curious about this, so I looked it up. Texas Stadium is actually still open, which makes me pretty happy. And like looking at the pictures, it is pretty much like I remember. They would do like the strobe lights and like the neon lighting, and they would do like slow skating songs and stuff. So I remember like one of my first like crushes in like elementary school. Like there was a girl there, and like I remember working up the nerve to like ask her to go skate with me on like a skating, like they would put on like, at that time it was like, Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears and like those kind of groups. And so like we'd wait, let's like, do you want to go like dance with me to like the slow skate, or not dance, you want to skate with me to the slow skate. And yeah, that was really fun. So like I just have like very vivid memories of like, and I think you can even still do it. You can do like, they have like birthday packages. So you just pay like a flat fee. And back then it probably wasn't very much. And you had like a whole area reserved to you. You had all the skates for all the kids who were coming.
Oh, is it? Okay.
They even had like cake and like pizza and stuff like that.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, it was just like a fun time. And then they would also have like retro things. I think we might have had like an 80s, and this is like as kids, remember? So like had like little kids wearing like jean jackets and like, messed up hair and like glitter and sparkles and stuff.
Yeah, like cosplay.
Yeah, so it was like a costume. Yeah,
Sing party.
Yeah, and so like that brought back a lot of memories, and it's actually, I'm happy to see that Texas Stadium is still open, because that's although I think they're closed right now due to COVID, but hopefully they'll reopen.
How long have they been around?
This place, I think since the early 90s. Like,
wow.
Yeah, and to my knowledge, that was one of like the big ones at the time, and it's probably one of the only major ones still kind of standing.
Wow.
Give you that kind of retro experience.
Yeah,
we should do that sometime. I think.
I think so. Like, I would really love to do roller skating or ice skating. It must be fun.
Ice skating is It's
similar.
To me, it's harder, like a lot harder.
Yeah, but if you can do roller skating, you can do ice skating. I did couple times.
That's true. I did it like when I was a kid. I had like my own pair of like the inline skates. So like, how like normally it's for like some of the skates they have like it's like a car wheels.
Yeah. I have that one.
So that's the one that like you would generally rent at like a place like this. But I also owned my own pair of the inline, what they call like rollerblades. So it's like 4 in a line.
So
wheels.
that's exactly like the ice skating blade.
Yeah, that's more similar to ice skating. Although
that's cool.
I have I had one of those, and I have lots of like skinned knees and elbows from falling a lot.
Yeah.
Trying to do that.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Like I remember like in our area, I saw people do roller skating on the street here.
Some people do that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, we should try that.
Because we have a lot of parks and tracks you can skate around.
Yeah, that's true. That's good spots for that.
That'd be fun.
But anyway, that was a very memorable birthday. Just one that sticks in my head is like, to me, it like kind of exemplifies like being a kid in the U.S. in the 90s.
Yeah.
Is like pretty much everyone I knew had either had or gone to a birthday party at like a skating rink.
Yeah.
Probably specifically Texas Stadium, because that was like the big one where I grew up. So that was fun times. That's my first joyful birthday memory. What is your second joyful birthday memory?
My second joyful birthday memory is with Matt. So Matt took me to the Tasmania for one of my birthday as like birthday trip. And I really enjoyed that experience. I remember we stayed in Tassie. I think both of us, we haven't been to Tassie before. And he has this idea, okay, how about we go there for your birthday? And it's summer. So it's a very nice season in Tasmania. And Tassie is such a beautiful state. We went to like Hobart Lancaster, and we also went to a great mountain, like Cradle Mountain.
Oh yeah, Cradle Mountain is like if you've never been to Tasmania and you get a chance to go and you like outdoor stuff like hiking and all that, like Cradle Mountain is like a great like national park or state park to go to. Yeah,
on Cradle Mountain, I think it's very similar to the New Zealand scenery, right? If you're in Cradle Mountain,
a lot of Tasmania reminded me of what I know of New Zealand to be. Yeah,
and why it's memorable is Matt has rent a very nice lodge in Cradle Mountain, and it's so lovely. It has this because Cradle Mountain is so cold compared to other parts of
because it's higher up.
Yeah, so they have these fire pits, and I also remember because it's a national park. You see a lot of wombats around. You know, wombats? Wombats is like huge, big.
They're like if a wombat is like if a rat was
it's
much
cuter
bigger.
than a rat.
No, hang on. If a rat was much bigger, much more fat, and much more cute, basically. Because I think wombat might be like the biggest, like a rodent type. I think.
Yeah, it's pretty cute. It's like fat, chubby, and I'm not sure if they're friendly, but they're just roaming around.
They seem pretty friendly because we went to Tasmania. We went to the same area again in the brief window we were able to travel in late 2020.
Yeah.
And we stayed at the same lodge actually in Cradle Mountain. And there was that one morning where there was like a wombat.
Wombat just
who was just like chilling. It was daylight. He was just sort of like walking around the roads
and eating grasses.
Eating the grass. And we
in front of our cabin.
And we did like a little like a photo shoot in front of him. We didn't touch him or anything like that. No. But like just we were like within a few feet of him and he just didn't care.
Yeah. I remember so vividly, like when we walk around the trail around the lodge, I remember I see a wombat with a mommy with the baby. Oh, so cute. I just remember that memory. And like it's amazing you can see those wildlife. And in the cabin, they also have a very nice restaurant. We stayed there and have my birthday dinner, which is awesome. And in Tassie, they also have these most amazing oysters from Brunei Island.
Oh my gosh.
Like I absolutely loved it. So
there's a little, it's like a little island that you can take a ferry to from Hobart. Yeah. It's like in the southern part of the state. And they have, it's not just oyster, they have like lots of like different foods.
And cherries as well.
Cherries,
the cherry.
Giant cherries. Oh. They also have like little shops that make their own. It's like honey, chocolate, and fudge. What else? Cheeses and beers.
Yeah. Everything. So that island.
But the oyster is that's... I'm not a big oyster. I wasn't a big oyster person before that trip, to be honest.
I know.
And then we had the fresh one, yeah.
Yeah, the fresh one, just most juicy, like a creamy oyster I've ever had. And so fresh and so cheap as well. Only cost you like $12 per dozen?
I think it was like 12 a dozen with like some sauces as well.
It's just so good. And the cherry in Tassie is so sweet and big. I loved it. And also in Tassie, there are so many lavender farms. I went to the lavender farms as well, which was very nice. But I remember that trip, the lavender flower is not blooming.
Yeah, we went just like a month too late, I think, on that first time.
Yeah, but just so many places to visit in Tassie, and it's so nice to have a birthday trip there. And thank you, Matt, for having that idea.
Of course.
Yeah. And because of that trip, so Tassie become one of our favorite places to visit in Australia. That's why we went again last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's just a place like you would like to visit over and over again, and you don't mind to do the similar activities because every time you experience something new and be amazed by the nature scenery there.
For sure. I would say, honestly, because of going on that birthday trip and then going again last year, I would say like anyone who's never been to Australia and just wants to know what to do in Australia when we're able to do that again. Yeah. I think Tasmania should be near the top of people's lists if you have time for it, because there's just like something for everyone there, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Tassie is definitely a place for that, and it's not saying that other parts of Australia is not exciting as Tassie. It's just different. But Tassie definitely is a place we would like to go back again. Yeah.
This message was not brought to you by Australian Tourism Department.
No, it's not.
It's purely our love for Tasmania.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because Tassie is just simply a place you could stay for a week easily. Yeah. So that's my second joyful thing, and was one of my memorable birthday memories.
Hey, you. Yeah, you, the person consuming our joy. Thank you for listening. We appreciate it. One hope we have with Our Three Things is to spread little bits of joy to everyone who listens, and not just from us. If you have something joyful in your life that you'd like to share, we'd love to highlight it on the show. You can send it to us at our3things.com/contact or email us directly at our3things.podcast@gmail.com. And if you're enjoying our happy ramblings, we'd really appreciate a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. It only takes a minute, and hearing the feedback means the world to us and helps spread the joy to even more people. All right, now, back to the things.
So, Matt, what are your second most memorable, joyful birthday experience?
Yeah, so the second one that came to mind was actually right before I moved from across the country in the U.S. So this was in 2014, so I guess 25th birthday. So this was moving from Texas to California. And it was like, so my birthday is in obviously September, and I was going to be leaving in like early October. So on my birthday, I don't know if I did anything else for my birthday. I can't really remember, but I just have this one unique memory of me and my dad actually going to a uni football game for my alma mater. So I went to a uni called Texas A&M University, which is like a big public state university, and like college football, as we call, is like, really big in US. And I was really big fan of it, going to that university, because we were like one of the big schools in college football. And there's a university in Dallas called SMU. It's called Southern Methodist University. Yeah. SMU. And they're not like super great at like sports or anything. But like sometimes, we would play them anyway in football. And they were doing a game at the university in Dallas. So like it was like close to where I lived, right? And so like but
that's a different uni from A&M.
Yeah, different one. So this A&M is like a probably 3 or 4 hours drive away from Dallas. But this school is like in Dallas, SMU. Okay. And we were playing them at SMU. And so as like just like a little birthday, I guess it was a birthday gift, me and my dad went to the game to actually like watch it live at the stadium. Nice. It's a pretty small stadium, and like it wasn't expected to be like a hard game for us to win, because they're not very good, and I think we were doing decent that year. But it was still, it's like a nice memory. I remember like it was just like, because it was US, so like it was just like kind of the end of summer, beginning of autumn. Fall.
Yeah.
And so the weather was cooling. I remember it was like a nice sunny day, but it wasn't very hot. It was like kind of cooling weather. We had like a nice shady spot. It had like a big kind of grassy area that you could go like kind of sit in and like watch from there, without having to like stay on like a seat. Yeah. And yeah, like there's not much more than that. It was just like a pleasant day, like with my dad, before I was moving across the country, and watching the game, which we did win, and like seeing just like, in Texas at least, and a lot of the south of US, but especially in Texas as well, like football is like a big part of the culture there. Yeah. American football, I should say.
Yeah, American football. And especially, so it's like a rugby here, right?
It's probably similar. Yeah. In popularity compared to like rugby or AFL in Australia. Yeah. And especially like college football, which I think a lot of people who aren't in the States don't totally understand why. Because it's like professional football is huge too. Yeah. Especially with like the Dallas Cowboys,
Yeah, Cowboys.
I think you even know them, right?
Yeah. What about the Bears? Is that a game?
The Bears, the Chicago Bears.
Oh, that's okay.
That's for the pro team. There's also the funny thing about that, when you say Bears, my first thought actually went to another university in Texas.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned.
Called Baylor.
Okay, so
that's
different.
Yeah, so they're in a little town called Waco, which actually one of my friends graduated from. They have a team called the Bears. Okay. And they're usually pretty good too. They have like some really good years. So like the college football is like a really big kind of culture in that part of that part of the country. Yeah. And so it was like, and it was nice on an emotional level, personal level for me, just getting that time with my dad before I left, getting some family time in. Yeah. But also like a nice way to kind of say goodbye to Texas as well. Oh yeah. Because it's such a like going to like a football game is like quintessential Texas. Yeah. To me, like it's like perfect exemplifying of that. And it was just like a nice day, a nice memory that I have. Yeah. So. Like,
what's the difference? So in California, football game is not like as big as Texas?
It's still big. I mean, football is big everywhere in the U.S. Like you can't go anywhere without escaping it, really. But I would say like it's like big because like in Texas especially, it starts from very young. A lot of like kids go and play football when they're really like what they call like pee-wee football, which is like when you're like a little kid playing.
Yeah.
And then like high school football, depending on where you are in the state, is like a huge part. This is why I keep wanting to watch this show called Friday Night Lights with you, which is about like high school football in a small town in Texas.
Yeah.
Because it really shows like what I'm talking about. It's like it's ingrained in like your blood if you grow up in that part of the country. Yeah.
Right.
So it's just like, it sort of reflects my time living there. And that's still part of me, even though it's hard to watch any like U.S. football because of time zone here.
Yeah.
It's still like if I ever go back to U.S., like even just like to visit, and it's like during that time of year when their football is being played, I'll probably end up watching some.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll still like kind of like follow on and see how like my uni team is doing each year and stuff like that. So
how good is your uni team?
They tend to be decent.
Okay.
I mean, like everyone, unless like you went to a school called University of Alabama, which is like, it's obviously like the big state school in Alabama, which is like a southern state. Unless you went to that school, which basically they're the ones who have like the longest like
number one,
pretty much like they're just a traditional at this point, like number one, like powerhouse of the game.
Okay.
And there's a few other schools that are up there too. Unless you're like one of those like top 5 schools, you like people go through like phases of like, oh, my team sucks, oh, my team's great, oh, my team sucks again. In reality, like my school is actually generally pretty decent year to year. Right. Like I don't we don't like win championships, but like you're always like in the conversation.
Okay.
So
always like top 3?
No, not top 3. There's a lot of schools. Like,
okay.
It's not just
top
like
10?
Top 10 is like a really good year.
Okay.
Generally, you look at like if you say like a school is we're going into like college football podcast now, which I don't want to do too much. But like generally, like if you say a college football school is like ranked, it's like top 25. Okay. And that's pretty good, like pretty dang good.
Right.
So
interesting.
Yeah. So we're usually like in top 25. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's my second most memorable birthday memory that came to mind. Okay, Yuna, what is your third memorable birthday experience?
So my third memorable birthday experience is Kazuya fine dining experience. The reason I mentioned this one is because this is one of the only fine dining restaurant I keep coming back because of their great food.
So good. It's so good.
Yeah. So good. And it's Kazuya is a similar fine dining restaurant as Key, but they're more like Japanese French infusion restaurant. And the good thing about them is not only the dishes, they're so tasty, and the presentation is always very good, and they are so consistent as well, because we have been going there for a couple of times.
Have we been there three times or 2 times? I think at least twice.
Yeah. At least twice. And every time we went there, it's amazing, the food there. It's just so consistent. Like there's not a single dish like I don't like. But that's very unusual, because normally if I go to if you go to fine dining restaurant and they have like 10 courses, right? You will always find something you don't like. Yeah,
or at least like sometimes those places have like, and I think they do this on purpose, but like they'll have like a 1 or 2 dishes kind of in the middle to sort of like let your mouth rest. I guess that's a weird way to say it. But
just cleanse your palate.
Like cleanse your palate. Yeah, exactly. And sometimes those dishes are just sort of like, they're not really like good or bad. They're just kind of there.
Yeah.
But Tetsuya is like I agree with you. Every dish is like amazing.
Every dish is amazing. And also I like how the venue of the restaurant, right? It's just, when you're in Sydney CBD, it's quite busy, lots of people.
Yeah.
But they are in the busy part of the Sydney CBD, but a very quiet location.
It's really like tucked like right in the middle of like
right in the middle,
a lot of buildings.
And they have this Japanese garden on the window. You can see just really nice venue, nice food, which is very consistent and great for your birthday celebration. And when you go to this fine dining restaurant, in the end they would have a birthday additional plate with the candles and have happy birthday, which is really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also it's like on top of that, apart from Tazuya, right? I mentioned I normally celebrate my birthday with my best friend Rachel each year, and that's on top of with my parents. But it's just that's also one of very memorable experience for me before she left for US for the next chapter of life. But celebrating birthday with her every year, no matter we travel or doing different food and fine dining, is also very memorable and very great experience for me.
So not a specific birthday, just like all of the birthdays you spent with Rachel.
Yeah, because that's...
You hear that, Rachel?
Yes.
Time to come back.
Time to come back. I miss you. And the reason it's special is like it's because I'm similar as Matt. I'm not a very like big birthday party person. Sometimes I just rather spend time with my partner like Matt, or with my best friend, or with my family, and that's enough for me. And just doing that is very memorable to me. Yeah. So that's my last memorable birthday experience.
Lovely.
So what about you, Matt?
So my last one was actually with Yuna as well. So this would be in 2019.
Yeah,
I believe, right? Because it was
right
before
it's your 30th.
It was my 30th birthday.
Yeah.
So this was right before like a few months before the lockdown started. So I moved. So just like maybe some context why this is so memorable for me. So I moved to Australia in early 2017.
Yeah.
And in the couple of years like before this, especially before I met Yuna as well, I didn't do a lot of like the traditional touristy stuff.
I know.
So I did stuff like, I would go like stuff on my own, like to like, I would like, been to like Bondi Beach and like rode the ferry around and like things like that. But one thing that I had never done, which I think like anyone who like visits Sydney, like even if like you really have no interest in like this, or even if you're like scared of heights, everyone climbs up the bridge, the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Yeah. So it's like, for those of you who don't know anything about that, like you climb up, it's sort of like near the center of everything in Sydney. You see it in all the pictures of like the main harbors around like the CBD area. You can see like Circular Quay, see the Upper House. Yeah. And then you can see like pretty far like east and west, all the way out to the ocean almost, I think. Yeah. And it's just like there's like a company that puts it on that like helps you do like a guided walking up to the very top of the bridge and then like going back down. And you can also do it different times of day and stuff to like give different views. And it's just like a very like, it's probably like, aside from like going and taking a picture at the Opera House, it's probably like one of the most like touristy. Yeah. And I don't mean this in a bad way. No, but it's like one of the most things that everyone does.
That's probably one of the most Australian thing you could.
I wouldn't say the most Australian.
One of the most memorable thing you could do in Sydney. And
if you're visiting Sydney.
If you visit Sydney. And the things like you have different time to climb bridge, right? Choose the Twilight one.
Well, hang on. So I'll.
It's Twilight, right? Twilight.
Yeah, Twilight. Yeah. So it's like, okay. So the reason this is my big birthday thing is because Yuna knew I'd never done this. Yeah. And so she booked tickets to do that.
And I have done it before.
Birthday. And she's done it before. So hopefully it was okay the second time. But
yeah. Oh, it's good.
And yeah. So and she had booked a where she's I don't know if you call it Twilight, but it's like you start like when it's still light outside. Like, what that time of year was probably like
so it's right before the golden hour for the photo time.
Yeah, well, so you start climbing when it's still, and the sun is like still pretty visible, and then by the time you get to the top, it's like right at that sort of peak, what they call like the golden hour, right? Where like it's like right in between sort of the sun setting and like the sun not being there.
It's so beautiful and breathtaking.
I mean, there's really like nothing better, like no better way to see it. Yeah. To see like the city.
The Sydney Harbour. There's no better way to see that.
Yeah, so we did that for my birthday, and like I think like the group that we were with, it was just like put you with like the group that's going up together, and like they sang happy birthday and whatnot. And yeah, it was just like, it's memorable to me because I don't normally go and do really touristy stuff by myself. I'd rather just like I tend to just like want to like go explore stuff on my own. But there are some things that like you can't do just by yourself. You need to like register for it and sign up for a thing. And so like I just never like bit the bullet and did that. And so I was really appreciate that Yuna finally made me do that. Yeah. And it was so much fun. And yeah, so that was a very memorable experience. Yeah. And then we also went to the restaurant that Yuna talked about, Key. Yeah. which again has like, that's probably like the second best way to see the views of the harbor.
I know.
Being served like really amazing, sophisticated food, and seeing the whole harbor in front of you in the window.
Yeah, in a more relaxed way.
In a much more relaxed way. Yeah. Exactly. And that was honestly also probably, except for like Tetsuya, that was probably like the most like fancy dining I'd done.
Yeah.
It felt like I would definitely say you try like Key one time at least.
At least try Key one time. It's just the location and the scenery, and they have very pretty presentation of the food.
Yeah. And it's very like I guess what I would say like old school fine fancy dining,
like Australian modern
Australian.
Of,
yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Yeah.
So yeah, those two things combined probably made for one of the most memorable birthdays I had, definitely in recent years for sure.
Yeah.
So thank you, love.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And do you remember like on your birthday I tricked you? You didn't even know it's climbing a bridge until
did you? Oh,
day,
you did.
remember?
Yeah, because I don't know where we were going.
Because Matt has always thought I bought him skydiving instead.
Oh, you would always. So this could have easily turned into like my least memorable or most memorable for a different reason, because you would always joke about doing skydiving for me as a gift.
I know.
Look, I like adventuring. I like I could go like hike on my own for like days and probably be okay with that and like be relatively like self-sufficient. Skydiving is like my line that I just like. I'm one of those people who thinks like, okay, why would I jump out of like a perfectly good airplane? You know what I mean? So
it's fun, and you know what's funny? Because I like surprises, right? I like surprise for my birthdays, and I also like doing surprises for other people's birthday. So Matt didn't know about it until the day of his birthday.
Yeah,
he know.
And I was really nervous that she had actually gotten me skydiving.
I know. Yeah.
I'm glad that didn't happen.
I know. And I remember he was so happy when he found out it's actually Harbour Bridge climb.
But then I was thinking, so are we going to jump off the Harbour Bridge? Like,
I know.
But luckily we didn't do that.
I know. Yeah. And you know what? Tomorrow is Matt's birthday. And there's another surprise for him.
We're doing skydiving?
You will find out tomorrow morning. It's a ISO friendly birthday.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, then we'll talk about that next week, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Okay, well, let's wrap it up because we actually had, this is another peek behind the curtain here. We had some food delivered in the middle of recording this episode.
I know.
That we very much want to eat.
Yes.
For lunch.
Yeah.
So we're going to go do that now.
Yeah, sounds great.
Thank you for listening this week to our joyful, memorable birthday experiences. Next week, we'll be back to our normal weekly joyful things. And I hope everyone in that time has an amazing, lovely week themselves.
Yeah. Enjoy this beautiful weather.
Well, at least here.
If you're in Sydney.
I just assume everyone who listens is like has the same view that we do.
Yeah.
But if the weather is nice when you're listening to this, go enjoy it. Even if it's raining, go enjoy it.
Yeah.
Go outside because we still are limited in what we can do outside.
Yeah.
So enjoy your environment.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to sign off then.
Sounds
but before we go,
remember, our fourth thing
is you. Bye.
Bye.
手中雕刻神话，刀锋千转蜿蜒成花，生命中的他是恰碰碰出人家，春光绕过发梢红纱。